I had all of these preconceived ideas about what using marijuana was, the people who used it, how it was going to impact me, how it was going to negatively impact me. And I was wrong about all of it. And so it helps me still to adjust my attitude about it as I learn more about myself and I learn how it helps other people. Just the sheer possibility that plant has for this world is great. So be nice to yourself. Give yourself a chance. Give other people a chance. You never know what someone's going through. Our chronic pain people know this. You never know how much you're hurting because you can't see it. And you won't know how you're going to feel about marijuana and cannabis until you use it and find a way for it to possibly incorporate it in your life. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Don't guilt yourself for trying something that helps your body.
Welcome to the Well with Cannabis podcast, a show dedicated to telling the life-changing stories of those who live well with cannabis, all while teaching you how to do the same. Meet your host, Emily Kyle, a registered dietitian nutritionist turned certified holistic cannabis practitioner. Emily changed her life for the better with the help of the cannabis plant, and now she is committed to helping others do the same. Tune in each week to hear heartwarming stories and gain the knowledge you need to feel connected, inspired, and supported on your own cannabis journey. Whether you're a new cannabis consumer or a lifetime lover, you'll benefit from these uplifting tales of real-life journeys that will show you how you too can live your best life well with cannabis.
Before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to share a note on potentially sensitive content. The episodes on the Well with Cannabis podcast are created for adult audiences only. We will at times cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, sex, drugs, alcohol, psychedelics, and the obvious use of plant medicine. Explicit language may be used occasionally. Please refrain from watching or listening to the show if you're likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. The information on this show is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice. If any of the content on this podcast has brought up anything for you, please reach out or speak to a professional or someone you trust. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Well with Cannabis podcast. I am so excited to be here with a really amazing woman. We just chit-chatted for a second and I feel our vibes connecting. Miss Beth Loska from Smidge of Sage Life Coaching. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for the invite. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I'm really excited to learn about your journey. You said it's about a 3-year journey with cannabis, and you had been a chronic pain sufferer. And I know for so many of our listeners, chronic pain is one of the major things that brings people to cannabis. So I'd love to talk about your story.
Well, it's a story. I'll tell you.
Tell me all the details, all the juicy details.
I actually used to be in the military, and that's where my chronic pain journey started.
Thank you so much for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a completely selfish choice to go. So I feel bad when someone says thank you.
Oh, no. I mean, even though no matter what, your service has meant something. Thank you.
Well, yes. Well, thank you. But my chronic pain journey started while I was in the military, and the standard of practice for chronic pain is to throw something at it, preferably a pill or 2 or 3. And I was in such desperate need to get my body to perform that I took these medicines with the hope, this will fix it. Years go by and the doses have increased and they want to give me more medicine as opposed to taking medicines away. And I said, well, let me just stop taking this. Well, then they said, oh, there's withdrawal. Did you not know? No, I did not know.
Oh my gosh, what was it like?
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
I was on Cymbalta and Lyrica. And Lyrica, for me specifically, had a very short half-life. If I was late taking it, I could tell I get dizzy, or the brain zaps. Those are a thing that I did not know was a thing until I was experiencing them, going through a supervised withdrawal of this medication with my provider, one medicine at a time. It took 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
For one medicine.
Able to do this from the comfort of your own home at least?
Oh, No, I had to work full time. And
Oh,
so I'm at work, I'm nauseous, I'm dizzy. Luckily I still felt that I could drive. There was times of the day that were better or worse, but there was a significant amount of time of work I lost because I
oh,
couldn't sit upright without getting vertigo.
oh,
And I promised myself that I would try my best to do the research and not put my body and mind through something like that again,
yeah,
because it was extremely taxing, and it gets your hormones are all wrapped up in this
yeah.
stuff too. And it was not pleasant, not
Oh,
pleasant
I'm
at all.
so sorry that you went through that. So 4 months, you make it through, then what happens?
Then I am without any pain management for a few months until I moved to the wonderful state of Washington because I was
You
not
went
in it.
months with nothing. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Now, Prozac helped me a lot,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
as far as chronic pain treatment goes, it was one of the darker parts of my life,
Yeah.
and it led me on this journey to life coaching. Actually, excuse me. Whew. I'm such a crybaby.
I mean, I feel it. I understand.
So a lot of personal things are going on at the same time. And that's how that works with life. When one thing you decide to make a change, five other things are like, wait, we don't need to stick around either. So we moved across the country during
Where
COVID,
did you move from to?
Alabama
Oh, wow.
to Tacoma.
That's a big
It,
change.
well, we'd lived here before. So
Okay. Okay.
it was coming back
Okay.
to a place that fit us better,
Good.
and had better services. My son is autistic. And so we were needing to find a place to settle.
Yeah.
And we moved across country, and I went to the dispensary. Not right away, because
No?
I had never used any kind of drugs at any point, and I was 36.
It feels crazy to even like step foot in a dispensary, doesn't it?
It was so overwhelming. And of
How
course I
did
did.
you make the decision?
Well, I actually, it was a lot of discussion with my husband because I knew that he's a skeptic. He supports the use of medical marijuana and recreational marijuana, but when it's his wife using it,
Yeah,
there's a lot of discussions that come up with that no
absolutely.
one writes about,
Mm,
or
talks about? Yeah,
yeah, and so
absolutely.
we had to come to an understanding of what I wanted to try for my body.
Yeah.
And he was married previously, and unfortunately his wife passed away from
Oh, so
cancer,
sorry.
but that was before medical marijuana was legal in Washington state, and so he got to see suffering without relief.
That
And
is
so
terrible.
he hoped that this could help me.
Yeah.
um, and it was fun, I'll just say that. Like,
Good. Yay.
it was interesting for me because I was trying to do it responsibly.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to impact my relationship with my son, my husband. I still needed to get stuff done,
Yeah.
but I'm taking a medication just like anything that was prescribed, and I don't know how it's going to affect my body. Well, finding the right dose was fun.
That's always a trip. Absolutely. Do
So,
you
and
remember what your first time using cannabis was like?
I actually, the first time I used it, I stuck with some edibles because to me that seemed fairly straightforward. I used to be a tobacco user, smoker, and
Same. I did 5 years. Yep.
I was very hesitant to
Yes.
flirt with that idea again
Hmm.
because I still dream about smoking.
Oh, it's like a part of you.
I
It's
was
weird.
really good at it.
Yeah.
I was so good at it. I didn't quit because I stopped liking it. We'll just say that.
100%.
So,
Yes.
so I started with edibles, and I probably journaled about it. I need to go back and look,
Yeah.
but I remember kind of, oh, I know what it was. We hadn't quite left Alabama yet, and
Ooh.
someone gave me some canna butter cookies.
Ooh.
That's what it was.
Ooh.
Fantastic cookies. Um, and at first, it almost felt like that same kind of euphoric relief you get when you first start taking opioid pain medications and it works, it's the first time it works, and that relief you feel.
Yeah.
I felt that. And I was like, oh, I can move my body. I can touch places on my body that I can't usually. I felt connections inside my own self, shaking hands for the first time in a long time. And I had some really great internal discussions with myself about what pain meant to me, where my fear of pain came from, what started it, why I tried to avoid it so much, and covering it up as opposed to figuring out what this is. And it truly, those conversations, that mindset would not have happened on the traditional treatments that I was getting.
Yeah.
And so I found what worked for me, and I have been able to improve my quality of life in a way that I did not ever expect was possible.
Yes.
It doesn't make me superhuman, but it enables me to move without pain, which is a gift for those that have it. And, you know, it really made me interested in finding out ways, one, to use this wonderful plant to help my body feel better, less painful. And also, I liked the way it made me, it reframed my mind and my worldview. And I made connections within myself that, like I said, I hadn't made previously. And it helped me get to this place where I had the strength and wherewithal to start a business and do life coaching and tarot. And that was not my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Me from 10 years ago would have laughed at you.
It's incredible. I mean, that's an amazing story, an amazing journey. And I am so happy that you gave those cookies a try, gave cannabis a try, because everybody deserves a pain-free life. And if one plant can give that to you, and then all these other beautiful things on top of it. I've been doing a lot of these podcast interviews, and everybody comes back to the same thing, that they came to cannabis for one reason, and they stay for this whole other plethora of reasons, these little magical things that happen that we don't even realize happen, whether it's a better relationship with ourselves, a better relationship with spirituality, a better relationship with our family, our friends, our children. It's all of these beautiful things that come out of making the choice to use cannabis that are so beautiful.
Yes. And one thing for me specifically that I know it would not have happened without this is the type of communication that was needed in order to gain the support from my spouse.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
That was interesting. And it continues to be something that I think I'm not alone.
No.
In this, but it feels like I am, because I almost never talk to anybody about how I manage my pain.
Yeah.
But initially I was like, I will not smoke it. I will not do this. I will not do that. I gave myself all of these rules for the sake of having rules, because I needed to feel like I had some control over this, which I'm a type A girl.
Yes.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But I realized too, I have a healthcare background, and I know that there are inherent risks to inhaling anything that is not clean air.
Right. Exactly.
And I had to determine how was I willing to justify it?
Yeah.
And it was, the biggest thing that came out of this is I deserve a healthy body. I deserve a body without pain. And I didn't believe that initially. Cannabis has helped me get to that point. And I've experimented with ways of using it now, through cooking, the tinctures under your tongue, teas. That's how I found you. I grew my own little plants. It took me way too long to get an actual tomato from a tomato plant. And so I had low expectations, but for my first crop, but there was a yield.
Show me.
It's so cute.
It's incredible. You grew your own medicine. Like, is there anything more? It's like growing a human child in a way. Like, you grew something that
These
will
are babies
go
of mine.
well beyond just the fact that it's a plant. And so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was something I needed to, again, I needed my support
Yeah.
from my husband. He's
Yeah.
my muscles. I can't lift anything.
I know.
And so I needed him to be on board. And again, that brings it back to that communication. It was very uncomfortable for me to set a boundary on what I wanted to do for my body, all the while knowing that these have health complications. He's lost his first wife. How am I being selfish? What kind of mom am I? What legacy am I? Oh my gosh, just it goes down and on and on.
Yes. Now, you said you were not a cannabis consumer before. Did you feel it more, the weight of, oh my gosh, I'm a cannabis user. What are people going to think of me?
Absolutely. As a military person, as someone who is not discussing certain parts of their life with the majority of their family, this is, something that is kind of private. And I've lost my train of thought. Ask me your question again.
What was it now? Okay, I'm just like listening. No, I know. I just get so into what we're talking about. Let's talk about just having a discussion with a husband, because my husband does not use cannabis at all. It's just not his thing, but he's always been respectful. He's always been encouraging. And I think he's glad I use it because I'm way less naggy. I leave him alone. Like, I let him live his own life.
Gotten the same feedback.
Yeah. And for some women, just having that first conversation with their husband is so terrifying. Do you have any suggestions for them, or I know you said communication. How did you approach it?
Yeah. I practiced in the mirror, in the shower. I journaled. I wrote down everything I wanted to say and read it over. And I was like, no, that's not the way I want to say it. Or I like this part. I had this planned. This was my elevator speech. And I was only going to get one opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And so I prepared. And I also mentally prepared for the fact that he may disagree, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, wow.
And that was,
yes, I know. That's a big one. I mean, mentally preparing for something like that takes a lot of energy.
So what I came to realize is that I want his support. I don't need him to agree with me.
Yeah.
And I think making that distinction for him, he's very analytical. And so I had to be very specific. You're not agreeing with me, but I still need you to support me in this because my health impacts our whole family. And my choices with this will impact things that we do as a family. I have to take that into consideration if I need to go get my kid from school, but I just smoked. That requires me being able to say, hey, I am unable to get my child right now. I need you to go get our son. And him knowing that me asking that is hard. And if you're frustrated, we can talk about that, but I still need you to go get our son. Can you go get him? And then we'll talk about it later. But I practiced what I wanted to say. I found statements that were, I feel statements that were where I felt good with where my boundary was going to be. I'll still listen to your concerns. I have the right to change my mind because edibles was just what it was at the beginning. And then I started doing dabs and things like that. And so I had to figure out, I wanted to try everything so I could figure out what really worked best for me. And getting him, that first conversation was important. And it did not end the way I wanted it to, but we had the conversation. And it led to many more conversations. And we like to talk in the kitchen and munch on, charcuterie stuff. Drink a glass of wine. The kids are watching SpongeBob and we are engaging, in our time. And those are the conversations that came up. And it required me to be very honest with myself, how I was using it. I do suffer from addiction. I had an alcohol problem when I was much younger. I'm one of these odd ones. I can still use and drink responsibly, but the
Yeah.
temptation for some of that is there. I will love smoking. I love smoking. But I know if I go crazy, I won't stop. And it took me a long time to quit.
Yeah.
And so I am conscious every time I use it, just like I was conscious every time I took a prescribed medication.
Yeah.
And it is definitely takes practice.
Yeah.
But that would probably be my best recommendation is to, we do that. We have
It's a
conversations in
great
the shower.
recommendation. Yes.
How are we going to say this? What's he going to say? How will I respond? Oh, I'm getting emotional. I'm not even talking to him. Why am I feeling emotional? Oh, I'm not ready. Not ready to have that conversation yet,
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was so deep and multifaceted. I was very overwhelmed and considered just, I don't need to do this. My baby plants can die. It's too complicated to figure out. Let me just suffer. But wait, I deserve a body without pain, and I deserve a healthy body.
Yeah.
So I can't just not say anything. And, it really is the loop that keeps me going.
Yeah. Yes.
But this is going to be this is a lifelong thing. This is
Yeah.
behaviors, and we're people. People are flawed.
Yeah.
We're beautifully
Yes.
flawed. And, this is part of how we learn. And this stuff has helped me learn more about myself than a lot of any other talk therapy. Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about that,
Behavioral
because
therapy.
I keep coming back to the same theme with men and women, that cannabis introduces you to yourself.
Oh,
It
yes.
allows you, and I'm not an overly spiritual person. I'm not an underly spiritual person. There's something about it. Cannabis awakens you to yourself, to your intuition, and to your own inner guidance that I never had before I had cannabis. And the more people I talk to who have the same experience, I'm like, tell me all about it.
Yes.
So please tell me how it impacts you in that way.
So cannabis became a really, really big part of my self-care routine.
Yes.
And and my spirituality, which I had just fallen out of.
Yeah.
Some things didn't resonate anymore. And that's what happens. It's supposed to happen anyway. As life changes and you get exposed to more things, you can change your mind and you can reframe where you're coming from. There was a huge connection to my spirituality, but it wasn't right away. And it was after the pain had subsided. And I've come to realize that my intuition, and most people's intuition, that little voice that talks to you, it only has one volume. You can't make it louder. You have to make things quieter.
Oh, that is such a good way to
Yes.
say that.
And using marijuana helps everything go down. And then in that beautiful voice that has been singing its heart out, but it can only get so loud. I finally heard it.
Yes.
And then I was like, when was the first time I heard this voice? I had to remember. And it took many times of thinking and journaling. And I used it as a way of self-exploration. It opened up my memory in ways that I didn't know was possible. I recalled repressed memories from trauma when I was a kid. All of this stuff that I had hidden from myself that came through when I was ready to be in my body.
Yeah.
Not trying to escape it because it hurt so bad,
Yep.
So it became part of my spirituality in a way to help me connect, to help me become still. I am better at becoming still. It's taken me practice.
It's practice.
I could struggle and meditate for maybe 2 minutes with my eyes closed and still. And now I can sustain that for 45 minutes or an hour. But cannabis helped me get there. It helped me feel calm with my body, understand what I was actually feeling. It wasn't all anger. It's more stuff. There's stuff under that. And it really revolutionized the way I look at my life, revolutionized the way I look at my own spirituality. Is I look at it like a garden. I'm a very huge plant fan now.
Yay, yes, yeah.
It benefits. I don't kill them anymore, so they like me back. But the spirituality for me is like a garden. You
Yeah.
have to tend it. If you've never planted anything, there won't be anything there. You have to start.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing for me is you don't always thrive where you're first planted.
Oh, that's a good
And
one.
so it kind of was the underlying tone of that point in my life, leaving a career and taking my family across the country during COVID when I'm not medicated with any pain medicine, sitting for 20 plus hours in a car, 2 geriatric dogs, an old cat, a crabby 3-year-old. Like, I made it. And then get this, we moved to my in-laws' house. They're helping us stay. Yes. Yay. And it is not what was promised. There's like no working plumbing where we were at. It was a
Oh
nightmare.
gosh, that's totally different. Oh my
It's a whole
gosh.
other story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a whole other story. So to say that my chronic pain was out of sight when I got to Washington was an understatement, and stress and things like that. But I was not thriving where I was, and I moved myself, and my spirituality grew, and I tended it, and I found things that I really liked to grow there, and I found some other stuff that was like, no, that doesn't belong here. That's not what I want to put my energy and time into growing, thriving. Yoink. And again, cannabis helped me take a look at my life like that.
Yeah.
It chilled out all my overwhelming emotions, my overwhelming stress, my body pain, the racing thoughts, the stuff that comes with life and chronic pain.
Yeah.
And I was finally able to step through this fog that I had no idea I was even in. And it was really magical in a way that I grew my own stuff. I found you this way.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I mean?
know. It's
And
amazing. It's
it
a
has
plant.
made more opportunities than ones it's taken from me.
Yeah, it's
It actually
beautiful.
really hasn't taken anything from me, to be honest. It has
I'm so
only
glad you said
provided me
that.
more.
Yeah, I mean, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It truly is. And, maybe there's a few side effects. Maybe you're sleepy one time, maybe you ate a little bit too much of a gummy one time, but otherwise, I mean, there's
Those
nothing
are the
to compare.
adventures of
Yeah.
life. I mean,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that you tried a little bit of everything to find out what worked best for you, because I think that's the best advice to give in cannabis, because you thought you wanted to go one way and now you go all the ways. And that's the beautiful thing about cannabis is you can use different things for different reasons. And so you have like more tools in your tool belt.
well, and that is what I'm still adding to my toolbar right now is
Yeah.
what all is in cannabis, the science behind it, which science behind it works best for me.
Yes.
I think it's limonene
Limonene, yeah, the terpene.
that loves my body. My body loves
Oh,
that. It works great. And finding strains that work or don't work.
yeah.
That's one thing that surprised me. There's some that don't even do anything to me.
Yeah, or make you feel like crabby. There's been times when my husband's like, "What strain are you using?" And he'll be like, "Don't ever use that again." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't
Like
realize,
pass. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But it's good to tell people that cannabis is not a one and done. It's not like you just take a pill and it is what it is. There is so much nuance and so much that you can manipulate and change to suit your own needs.
Yes, exactly. And that's one thing too that I learned from my first grow experience to this next one. I'm going to start here in March.
So exciting.
Is that there are things I can do for my plants so that they have the better qualities that I want. I've already researched the strain that I have, so it's better. I can't tell anything off the top of my head, but it is.
Yes, yeah.
And I have a game plan now, and that's basically what you have to do. This isn't it's not like expensive to experiment with this. I bought shoes more expensive than what I had to put into this to get started that I've never worn. and I gave away, you
So
know?
good to say though. Yes,
Yeah,
it's the truth.
this is an investment that was relatively small for the amount of benefit that I got from it.
Yes, last year I put a seed in the ground. I just wanted to show people that you could put a seed in the ground and grow amazing plants. And when we did the math on like what that seed costs versus what we could, sell that for on the market, I mean, your return on investment is unbelievable.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you're making your own medicine. I mean, there's really like you're your own magic man at this point. Like, I don't know if you felt this. I know you said your plants were small, but like just watching it is such a magical experience in and of itself.
It is. Well, and it really is a study again of how you care for yourself.
Yeah.
Self-care is very much like being a plant. You do have to water yourself. You do have to
Yeah.
feed yourself, but that's keeping you alive, and that's not really self-care. Like, how can you make yourself thrive?
Yeah.
That is self-care, and this helps me do that because I could not get through that barrier on my own steam
That's what
with
I
the
wanted to ask you
medication.
about is self-care, because for a lot of women, self-care is this like elusive thing that will never reach that involves like a massage and a pedicure, which not that
Yes.
those things are not self-care. But a lot of people I tell like cannabis is a tool in my self-care tool belt, if you
Yes.
will, and it helps all the other parts of self-care kind of fall into place. Have you had
Does.
that same experience?
Yes. It enables me to be present in my body here in the moment,
Yeah.
how good or bad, what is it here? And then I'm able again to touch places I couldn't touch before, care for myself in ways that a massage lady is not going to do,
Yeah.
or someone doing a pedicure is not willing to do either. I have to be willing to take care of myself because no one nurtures me like I can.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe that at first. And I actually challenged myself. I did a little blog challenge, and it was 30 days of self care for the skeptic. I really wasn't sure if it was going to work for me, if it was going to be worth the time. So I documented my month. I did 30 days of my real life, what the time I had each day, and the availability of resources, and I saw what I could do when I really tried.
Yeah.
And after the first week, I felt like a new person. The second week, the third, the fourth, it's been a year now since
Oh
that
my
blog
gosh,
challenge.
wow. Yay.
And I am down 45 pounds.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
My skin is better. My hair was falling out. My nails were brittle. Like there's so much to this
Yeah.
that I just started caring for myself in a different way. And it really helped me blossom into myself. I'm still becoming.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever read Michelle Obama's book, Becoming Michelle Obama. I'm still
Mm-mm.
becoming Beth,
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
but it has definitely helped me realize the value of myself and the value of the time I give to myself.
Oh, it's so
And
important.
yeah, very critical.
Yeah. It's,
I'm
I mean,
able
the
to
most. Yeah.
I'm able to be more present for my kids now. I'm a better mom. I'm a better
That's
wife.
where I wanted to go with you next.
Yeah.
Motherhood. And how has it impacted motherhood? Because so many people have such a bad misconception that cannabis and parenting cannot be combined responsibly. But there's so many people who are just put out there that they are such a better quality parent thanks to cannabis. Have you had the same experience?
Heck yes, I have. Me on pain medication, helping my son do something or have fun with him was unheard of. I am, and I'm not disabled when I'm using this. There's that subtleness too. You're not 0 to 1,000 and on the floor. I've found the dose that I can perform at.
Yeah.
And my son is special needs. He's very high functioning, autistic, brilliant, brilliant
Mm,
little boy.
yeah.
Um, was completely nonverbal, and now he's in third grade and learning
Oh,
multiplication.
oh my gosh.
I
Congratulations.
could not have done the support that he needed, the support that I needed if I hadn't found a way to better manage my pain like cannabis did. And
Yeah.
it made me more curious and less exasperated with
Yeah.
his sense of imagination. That's what we need more of. Don't stuff it
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
And so, if it takes longer to do math, at least we had fun when we did it. And it gives me that kind of that creative spark. How can I approach this from a way that my neurodivergent child will understand?
Yeah.
Because, I'm not the only parent, I'm sure, that's
Yeah.
like this with a
Yeah.
neurodivergent child, but I see so much of myself that I didn't get my own diagnosis. However, I know what my parents did for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
how it did not work. And I'm going to try something different with my son. And it enables me to have that creative
Yeah.
light bulb on
Yes.
how can I reach my kid differently. Makes it fun being a parent again. That's how it's supposed to be,
Yes.
not
Absolutely.
challenging because they're struggling.
Yes.
And it's helped me be again more present with how I feel as I'm helping him through things,
Yeah.
and making sure that I'm only there for his emotions. Any emotions that are coming through regarding this is just stuff I need to deal with in my journal.
Yeah. Yes.
But
There
it
you
helps
go.
me separate, hold it close, and put it
Yeah.
aside just until I'm ready for it later. And man, the relationships with my husband, the communication that we've been able to
Yeah.
have, I've felt very insecure at first sharing with him my spiritual journey with this
Yeah.
because he's an atheist.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so okay, I know how you feel personally. Don't think I'm weird, okay?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still I your opinion about me matters.
Yes.
But having those kinds of conversations is, it's opened us up to being more responsive to each other. And like you, my husband is not allowed to use it, even where we're at,
Mm.
um, with his job. And but he understands though that it
Yeah.
has value for me. He sees now how I have grown
Yeah.
emotionally. When you take pain out of the equation, man, you can do a whole lot more. And it's benefited everything. I'm a
Mm.
better sister to my own
Yeah.
sibling. um, I'm a better daughter. I'm a better granddaughter. I'm a better coworker. They just don't know it. And
It's so funny.
I, I am a better human for how I now take care of myself. And cannabis was the key to that. It
Oh,
unlocked it for
it's
me.
so beautiful. I'm so happy that you found this plant, and I'm so happy that you've shared your experience here with us. I really hope that it helps. I mean, we could touch a wide variety of people here, moms and dads and military families. And I mean, you coming out and sharing this is very brave and it's really important. I'm so glad that you did. Now, I want to be respectful of your time. I want to ask my guests all the same 4 questions. Are you
Sure.
ready for them?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, our first one up is, what are you most proud of in your life to date?
The fact that I'm a life coach and I opened my own business because of
Let's
how
talk about it.
cannabis changed my brain, changed my
Yes.
attitude, changed my confidence, helped me get in touch with my intuition,
Yes. Yeah.
which I had stuck down for way too long. And it was such a cool gift. I'm kicking myself that I
Ah,
stuffed it down for so long.
yeah.
Um, I would have to say, just being where I'm at. How does it get better than this? Is a
Oh my
question I
gosh.
ask myself very often, because it gets better. It
That is
does.
beautiful. For someone listening, especially for someone living in chronic pain, to hear your words like that, it's just my hope that this reaches them in a time when they really, really need it, because it can feel hopeless. It can be
And
really, really hard, as you described. And if you can share that with people, we can change one life here. Like, that's what this podcast is all about.
no, at my lowest, I was suicidal with a husband and son, thinking they'd be better off without me. And here I am.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's really important. And I hope anybody listening who needs help, who needs hope, inspiration, can reach out to either one of us. I'll put your
Yes.
contact information here. So I guess it brings us to the question, what would your life look like if you didn't have cannabis?
I would be cranky a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd be really good at it too, because it's really how we channel our pain, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have no control over our own bodies, and we feel like the only thing we can control is what we say. And we're really not even in control of our emotions at that point. It just overrides our system, and we don't even realize it until it's all gone. I would be miserable. I would be miserable. I would
I'm so
not be
glad you're not.
me.
Yes, I know. Look at you now. I mean, you are radiant, you are vibrant. You can just feel the love coming out of you. And like one single plant can do that. Like, just so happy that it found you.
Me too.
Now, if you could go back and give yourself a little piece of cannabis advice 10, 20, 30 years ago, doesn't matter. If you could whisper in your ear, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself, well, so it's kind of hard to put in words, I guess. I had a lot of guilt in starting it because, you know,
Uh,
the people who look at the kid having a cow in the grocery store. They don't have kids. They're like, oh, when I have kids, my children will never do this.
yes.
And then you're there and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could go back in time and tell that person I'm so sorry. I had all of these preconceived ideas about what using marijuana was, the people who used it, how it was going to impact me, how it was going to negatively impact me. And I was wrong about all of it. And really it's you, the individual. What does it mean to you? What am I going to be a good mom if I'm high teaching my
Yeah.
kid like arithmetic? It's boring to teach arithmetic. If I can make it fun and enjoy myself at the same time, and he gets something more out of it than if I hadn't, how is
Yes.
that a detriment? How does that make me a bad mom? I had to really challenge my thoughts, my own thinking about my use, about anybody's use. And I realized I had been wrong for a very long time. And so it helps me still to adjust my attitude about it as I learn more about myself and I learn how it helps other people. And just the sheer possibility that that plant has
Mm,
for this world is great. Um, so be nice to yourself. Give yourself a chance. Give other people a chance. You never know what someone's going through. Our chronic pain people know this. You never know how much you're hurting because you can't see it, and you won't know how you're going to feel about marijuana and in cannabis until you use it and find a way for it to possibly incorporate it in your life. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Don't guilt yourself for trying something that helps your body.
that's so perfect. And a lot of times it's very easy to be hard on ourselves, but it's not easy to be nice to ourselves. So thank you for that reminder. Our last one, if you could be remembered for just one thing in the cannabis space, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. The poetry I write.
Oh, tell us more.
Well, and none of it's published, and no, I will not read
Yet.
it to you. But I call it Tales from the High End. And
Oh, I
it
love
just
the name.
it's a creative outlet that is
Yep.
only for me at this point, but it brings me joy in ways that I just didn't expect. So
Look at the smile on your face. Like you're thinking
it's
about it.
embarrassing. I've never really said it to
You
anybody.
shouldn't be embarrassed. It's not embarrassing at all. It's such a beautiful thing to have a creative outlet like that that brings you so much joy.
So and it's one of those things that afterwards I read it and it still makes sense. So I know it was
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
it
I do
really
that all the
was
time.
life-changing. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Tell us more about your life coaching business. I'm sure that there are people who are listening who are like, I need to talk to Beth like right now.
Yes. So life coaching with me is a little bit different, I guess. And maybe most people have never talked with a life
Yeah.
coach. I personally used a life coach a few times before I
Oh,
decided to become one myself. And I'm currently going to school to get my
good for
master's degree
you.
in psychology with a minor in life coaching.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yes. So, life coaching with me is, again, it's that comprehensive support system that you need when you're making really big changes. You need a sounding board. You need someone who maybe knows more information about it or has better skills at Googling than you do. You need someone that can hold you accountable or be a support for you when you have no one else to support you.
Yeah.
I often find that I am the confidant someone needed, but they didn't trust their friends or their family quite enough to go that route. And I serve as a bridge to help them in creating the life they want, however it is. I love self-improvement. That's kind of what I do in my ordinary job. Life coaching is my extraordinary job, and it works with that too. And so we look at the whole picture, the whole person. We throw some tarot and meditation in there. I'm a nice weirdo. I promise it'll be cool. And it's nice to have a different perspective from someone who, I'm educated. I've got a master's degree in healthcare administration as well. I do process improvement for my ordinary job. I've been a manager, a supervisor, a mom, a business owner. I'm a trauma survivor. I'm a military retiree. I'm a disabled veteran. There are all these things that I have lived through that have given me this experience. I'm pulled and drawn to share it with people. And it's truly amazing to see the transformation of my clients and the people that I've touched. And I'll get emails a year later. I still read, or I still watch the video of your reading and this and that. And it really made a big difference. And that is what fills me up. It fills up my battery. It keeps me going for more. So yes, if you are at a crossroads, if you are stuck and you have to make a decision and you'd rather go straight, but the road is done, that's usually where people find themselves. And then they find me there to help them make decisions, weigh their options in a way that kind of clears the emotions out of it so that they too can see their own big picture and be the best version of themselves that they can be.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you're going to get bombarded with emails. I'm like, I need to be working with Beth. It seems like a best friend, mom, sister. I mean, all of the above put into one. Anybody who works with you is going to be so lucky. And I hope anybody listening who is like feeling drawn to you checks out your information. What is your website where people can find you?
You can reach me at smidgeofsage.com or email me at info@smidgeofsage.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn. Anywhere that you really want to search for me, I'm probably there. And Pinterest too. That's how I found you. And so of course that is where I'm at. And so you name it and you can find me. But yes, Smidge of Sage, tarot and life coaching.
I will link all of your information in the show notes so people can find you, connect with you, work with you. Thank you so much for this really amazing interview. I feel like my cup is filled up after this. So thank you for sharing your experience and your wisdom. I appreciate it so much.
It was my pleasure. And it was so fantastic to be here.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. You've finished another episode of the Well with Cannabis podcast and are one step closer to discovering how you too can live well with cannabis. Thank you for listening in today. We hope this episode has been a helpful and informative one. Please visit emilykylenutrition.com for more information on today's show notes, guest information, recipes, and other resources. If you want more support and encouragement on your cannabis journey, please consider joining the private Well with Cannabis community. In this group, you can connect with like-minded individuals focused on improving their health and wellness through cannabis. Join the group today to continue your journey of wellness together at emilykylenutrition.com.